What's going on, guys? Seth and Chevy here. We just watched episode 9 of season 1 of Delicious in Dungeon. We'll be going full spoilers ahead, so hopefully you've watched this episode, as we are on the 9th episode of this show, and we will do a real quick recap. So a lot of little things happen here, but basically we are left off from the last episode where they are trying to find a way to heal Marcel from her getting attacked by the Undine, or Undine, however you say it, and another party's coming down the stairs. That party happens to have an old party member of theirs. I forgot Namara. Happens to have Namara in the party, and they talk for a little bit. But they try to get the guy who's organizing the group, who's a gnome, I don't remember his name, to heal Marcel. He wants something for it. They don't have anything to offer him, so they go to move on. But they end up taking Laios and Senshi as like a deal, right? What was
he basically said that his bodyguard that he had hired, or what, I can't remember her name now, but wasn't reliable, and so he said as a deal, if they watched over him while he did some examining, he would call that a fair trade.
Yeah. So they end up going down some stairs. They end up getting attacked by some tentacles from the ceiling. And a whole crazy scene that left people swollen and numb. There was a scene in there, too, with Senshi without his helmet, which was weird because he looked normal. They all come back. They start getting healed up by the gnome. And from there, did they attempt to go to the Undine yet, or did they? I'm getting it mixed up because a lot of different things happen here.
Well, yeah, we skipped the part where the gal got shot in the head by the Undine.
Yeah, that was before, right?
Yeah.
So they went to go out there after hearing that the Undine was angered. He's like, I can talk to these things because I'm a gnome. We go far, back with these guys. They go out there, and it instantly gets pissed. Goes to shoot at them. He sacrifices Namara to it, gets shot right in the head, and then he's able to bring her back, which gives us a really big detail of the show, which is that when people die in this dungeon, their soul is not able to leave their body, basically. So when he brings people back, it's not even really that they died. They've been kind of locked in a like a soul stasis. In that dungeon.
There's a curse on the dungeon that doesn't allow souls to leave. So.
Yeah, so that explains a lot, because this whole show, I'm like, why does death not matter?
Yeah.
But now we know. And apparently, even outside of the dungeon, it could happen, I guess, in certain circumstances. But they made it sound like in this,
real out there.
Yeah. But in the dungeon, like, because the soul doesn't go very far from the body at all, they're able to do it if they can do it. So, yeah. So that was a step that happened, and then went down the stairs, got attacked, came back up. They end up healing Marcel. She is back to full health, but she's not full mana.
Bone dry.
So they come up with an idea that she will go up with the other team, because the other team has decided they're going to go up for a week, because it's going to take a week for the Undine to basically regenerate all of its individual spirit molecule things.
Yeah, they're made up of multiple spirits.
Yeah.
But they live about a week.
And they'll reset their temperament, basically, once they've all died off and recharged, I guess. So they're going to go wait it out up top while the team wants to keep going, but they realize Marcel doesn't have mana, so they're going to send her up. She doesn't want to go. She tries everything she can to not go. They even talk with Namara about possibly staying with the team to go help get oh god, I forgot her name, Phelan. They end up coming up with a plan to basically either capture or kill the Undine, because Undines are made of mana, or at least they use mana to survive, and so they're trying to figure out a way that Marcel could ingest the Undine. So they end up after kind of finding out that Senshi's cooking pot is made of an old shield made of adamantine, I think it's called, which Namara was very impressed by because she seems like she's like a weaponsmith, blacksmith type person.
She's a weapon nut.
Yeah, which was kind of interesting. They decided they're going to try and capture in that. So through an elaborate, clunky attempt at coming after the Undine, Senshi and Namar are able to pincer maneuver, capture it inside the pot, walk it over to a boil or fire to boil it while holding it down. And yeah, they end up doing that, and then they end up making a stew out of it, and the old tentacles and something else, kelpie. And they end up eating that, and it starts to work. Marcel's starting to get her mana back as her staff starts showing signs of that. And then, yeah, Namara is offered to, because earlier in the episode, they were talking about how if she bails on one team to go to the other, it could affect her in business later because people will think she's somebody who will just leave for money. And the gnome who's running the other team basically tells her that she can stay, but she says she wants to stay with them. That was her plan. It's not about the money. And so they end up departing, splitting ways, and our team is moving forward with one less Undine ahead of them. Is there anything else I missed?
I don't think so.
Yeah. All right. What do you think?
I mean, it's another fun episode. They managed to constantly make the concept of finding ways to eat things as an adventure in the show, and it's honestly impressive. So
it's crazy, yeah. Like every episode, I'm like, as soon as they propose that food's gonna be made of, I'm like, that makes sense. But before that, I'm never like, oh, I bet they're gonna do that in this episode. Like, it's always a big surprise.
Yeah, it was a lot more obvious in the earlier episodes, and then we know at this point that's gonna happen every episode. But the adventure that leads to the meal and the reasoning behind it has become a lot more, dare I say, deeper now. So,
well, I mean, like she would have had to leave the party if she didn't get mana back, so they had to capture that Undine, which was obviously very threatening.
Yeah,
took out 2 people. And last episode, if you would have asked me, do you think they're going to drink that thing or make a stew out of it? I would have never said yes.
Right, exactly.
I don't know.
I assumed they were going to eat the tentacles when they started snacking on it, right? But I didn't realize it was going to turn into using another creature as the liquid for
the
stew
base or whatever.
So, yeah.
Yeah, as soon as Senshi jumped in to grab the crossbow and throw it, and then he had the thing in his hand, the tentacle, I was like, what are they going to do with that? Is it a root? Like, are they going to...
Pretty much.
And
so they were eating like a banana.
Yeah. It was weird. And his hand's all swollen.
Yeah. And then, the comedy is always like... It's like almost too ridiculous, but just enough to, like, it's funny instead of just like, okay, what are we doing? You know, so... I like that it doesn't take itself seriously. I like when Laios' face is just swollen and he's got like the kissy faces for eyes.
Dude. Yeah, he looked rough.
It's just fun. The character development, because we've spent episodes with these people now, has been great. Also getting some insight to their previous party member. It felt like they had a relationship. It didn't feel just tacked on, which was nice. But we have gotten a little bit in the past, so it did kind of help in that regard. And then, them just kind of breaking down again, like all the mythological creatures and stuff like that in a way that, is familiar, but also like fits the show type of thing. So, I don't know. It's a lot of fun. I definitely look forward to seeing this one every week. So,
yeah, same. Obviously, outside of the cooking aspect and the comedy aspect, I really like the fantasy of it, which I didn't expect. I thought it was going to be like, just straightforward, but it's actually really clever. And how they use it. And this episode was really fun in the sense that we got a whole other team of people who have different skills. And so that this episode kind of made me realize that whether there's a season 2 or whatever, I want more from this world. Like, the cooking is cool. I always enjoy it. I think it's really creative with the way they do that. But I really like the fantasy element of the world. I like, obviously, the characters that we have. But every time they introduce other characters, they're interesting. Like the kobold that's in that team that kept getting killed. And in this team, there was like, I don't know what they were, like dark elves or something.
I don't think they really said, but they were definitely...
Kiki and Coco, or the hell they're
either that or they're just dark-skinned people.
Kaka. Yeah, but they looked very elvish, the way they're shaped and stuff.
I'd assume so, but...
But
They didn't really say so.
But yeah, and then the gnomes were interesting. So they're kind of pompous scholar type characters, and then Namara, who I think was a dwarf.
I'm pretty sure she was. Yeah.
Her and
She's
Sentra are like the same
stature and everything.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun getting other characters working in the mix and kind of seeing their strengths and weaknesses and everything that they know. Yeah, the episode was fun. I really liked the banter and dialogue and getting to know the characters. It barely had any kind of like action sequences, which I don't really watch the show for that anyway. But there is typically some kind of event where they got to fight something in every episode, or at least get creative. And in this, it was kind of a continuation of the last episode with this Undine, and the way they figured it out. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was very simple, very straight to the point, but I think it was a lot of fun the way they did that. Also, the staircase with the tentacles and the fantasy lore of these things have needles that numb you, and so they got to figure out how it's going to work. And Laios comes in handy because he's wearing a full suit of armor, even though he's wearing that. It still hurt, and he had to put a helmet on. But even with the helmet, his face got mangled, but not as bad as it would have been if it wasn't. So.
Right.
There's all these like little things in the show that I think are super clever. And yeah, the comedy's there. I really like the comedy in the show. It's really subtle. It's not over the top, but sometimes even the way Senshi looks, I think is funny. When people are talking to him serious and he just stares at them, I think it's
just blink bug-eyed.
Yeah, it's hilarious to me. Like all the time, someone would be like, ask him a question, he just stares at them and says something really simple, and I'm just like, yep, that makes sense.
He's definitely like the country bumpkin of the group.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's also like kind of like a simple purist because he was upset about the idea of bringing people back, which I'm also upset by that idea. I'm like, people just die all the time. He's bringing back. Like, there's no cost to that. It seems kind of weird that you're just bringing people back from the dead. But they did a good job in this episode of explaining that, which was like so crucial. That was such a big. This is the biggest hole in the show for me. Was like, why does death not matter?
Yeah.
So even if Phelan is dead, while in the dungeon, they should be able to bring her back if they have somebody that can do that. So that answers that question. If she's dead, they keep saying she is, but we don't know.
Yeah, she was eaten, as far as they know. So.
Yeah, but something could have could have happened. So we'll find out. But yeah, this is a really good episode. The episodes have only gotten better with this show, which is a great sign because I liked the first couple episodes. Those are like, yeah, I get it. It's a cool little gimmick they got going on here, but. Now it's just getting better and better, which is what you want from anything, really. Also, a lot of the things I've watched from Trigger will go from like goofy stuff to kind of more like adult kind of stuff, and this is like a more lighter, funnier show. But watching Namara get shot in the head was like kind of wild. Like I was like, that's just like cyberpunk or something, man. That was fucking brutal. Even in the show, they had mentioned like. That thing just like killed her in a really brutal way. And I'm like, yeah dude, it just shot her right through the head. So that thing wasn't fucking around. So luckily they had a gnome who could bring people back. Because otherwise she'd be laying there until somebody could bring her back, basically. So that was a really insightful part of the show. So but yeah, overall, great episode. Definitely probably one of my favorite episodes. But the last like 4 or 5 episodes have been like my favorite episodes of the show. So like I said before, getting better. And it is a show that I'm just like, regardless if we're doing this, I'd be watching this. So, yeah, Trigger does a good job with what they do. So, anything else?
I think that's it.
All right, let us know in the comments what did you guys think of this episode. What were your takeaways? What are some of your favorite parts? Maybe there's something in this episode that happened that we didn't talk about. Let us know in the comments what you thought of that. And what do you think is going to happen in the next episode? What are you hoping for? And unless you know, please don't tell us. And yeah, I think that's everything. I've been Seth, this has been Chevy. And until the next review, we will talk to you guys later.